welcome to the third video from this page from Little Worlds by Gabi Wolf. I'm going to come in closer to this design, which is the one that we're going to be doing today. There we go. I've grabbed my 154 from the Faber Castell Goldfaber that we've been using to do our sky. I'm going to do that first, like I did yesterday, just because, as I said right on the first one, we're going to keep the sky the same on all of them. I think that decision was the right one, because we've got such a limited range of colours. I mean, we've got sort of 38 I think it is, something like that, but it is not massive, and it's quite nice to have a little bit of something the same about all of them. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Anyway, it's a good start, isn't it? I hope everyone's well today. I've been hanging around a little bit waiting for husband's taken son out for a driving lesson. I was just waiting for them to get ready to go. First his son decided he needed to do something first, and then husband needed to do something. I was like, come on. And they were like, just go and record. And I was like, yeah, but you're going to be up and down the stairs, you're going to forget I'm doing it, you're going to be talking to me. I just want to settle and do it when it's quiet. So, and I would feel like I might have to be rushing and not feel as relaxed, but now they're out, that's fine. Son was actually going to drive us yesterday, all of us, somewhere, but he lost his confidence. He said it was a bit too much of a step. Firstly, he said, I haven't driven all that way before, and I said, well, you could go part the way and then swap. You know, there's a little place where he could have pulled up and swapped over. But then in the end he decided, because he'd never driven with me or his brother in the car, it was just a bit too overwhelming, so he just said, no, I'm not doing it. And his dad didn't mind, he drove us instead. It was all fine. Okay, there's our little background. I might do a bit more with it. It's a bit pale in places, but we'll see how it works with our mushrooms later. Now today I thought I'd do some blue ones. You know, I want to try and do them all different colours. I hope I've got enough colours so I can do them all differently. So I'm looking at my swatch chart. I'm going to pick my darkest blue. We don't actually have a really dark blue. So it'll be the cobalt blue, which is number 143. Just got to try and find the right pencil. There it is. 143. Actually, what's that one? No. Here it is. 143 cobalt blue. I'm going to give it a sharpen and get started. There we go. I'm not going to use just the one blue. Got like a little leafy hat on these. It's absolutely adorable. I don't know whether I should have changed the colour because of that. I don't think so. I can't think of a colour that would necessarily work any better. So I'm going to fade this up a little bit, and we're going to put another colour on as well. I'm just going to try and layer that bottom up a bit. There we go. There we are. Yeah, and just move along. Saw my family yesterday, parents, sister, was lovely. Was my niece's little birthday get together, a bit early. So my mum always likes to do get-togethers before the event rather than after. She always thinks, oh, once it's over, then it's over and you've forgotten all about it. So we've got to have it before. I don't necessarily agree. I quite like having things after because it extends the event for me. But anyway, we respect her thoughts and did it before. And it was nice to see everyone. Nice to have a drive, actually. And also the route that we took was full of autumn trees, lots of beech trees changing colour, yellows and orangey browns. It was gorgeous. And then on the way home, the sun was just setting, it was catching the autumn colour in the, oh, it was glorious. It was just so lovely. I really enjoyed that drive back. It did get a little dark as the sun set. Obviously it gets a bit dark early these days. But, my son, you know, being a sort of learner, was talking about, sorry, I just got white in my nose, talking about how the bright car lights really affect his astigmatism and look really bright. And you can see, he can see like a cross of white light through them. I can as well. And he was saying this is a bit of a problem for night driving. But interestingly, I was reading, even just this morning on the BBC News site, there was an article about bright lights. The LED lights particularly, people are finding them so bright they don't want to drive at night. Because some people are saying it takes them like 5 seconds for their eyes to adjust again. They basically can't see anything. So it's really dangerous. And I've always wondered how they're legal, to be honest, because they're so bright and blinding. So there's sort of a campaign to look into it, which I think is a good thing. Now we're going to go for a lighter blue. We do have the light blue, but actually I'm going to go for the light ultramarine. I think the colour works better. This is 140 with this cobalt blue. And I'm going to put quite a bit on at the top and just sort of blend it in. This might end up looking like there aren't that many different colours in it. Well, there aren't, but it might look like it's all the same colour, just sort of more intensely coloured at the bottom, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, so that was interesting reading about the lights, but my son's got an eye test coming up soon. Well, he's due one, so we can talk to them about that, or he can. I don't know if he'll want me to go with him or not. It's up to him. We'll talk to them about it to see. I'm going to use this light one for the little brim. I usually do it darker, but let's do it differently. Yeah, you can talk to them about whether there's any coatings he needs to put on his specs and things like that. I think they have ones for night driving and things, so you know, it will be worth a chat, I think, about it all. They usually ask if you drive when you have your eyes tested. I always get asked anyway. Okay, now I'm thinking about these stems or stalks. I'm wondering whether to put, I think I'm going to, a light layer of this blue on as a sort of base. I quite like the idea of it being blue. I mean, I'm sure no toadstools have blue bits like this, but why not? I'm going to not just put this colour on, I'm going to put a bit of grey on top. I just think it might give it a nice little hint of blue. There we go. So I'm going to get the grey. I'm thinking the cold grey. We've only got one. It is the 233 cold grey 4. Trying to remember my Roman numerals. IV 4. And we're going to put it on. Now this is quite an intense colour. Oh, my eyes watering. So I'm going to try not to put it on too dark on this edge, really. I don't want it too dark, and just bring it in a bit so it doesn't look blue necessarily, but it looks sort of blue grey. I'm hoping they'll sort of will get a mix. It's quite tricky because the grey is the more dominant shade because it's a more intense colour, but I think I can see a bit of blue in there. We'll do the same with this one over here. There we go. I was a little bit concerned that because we've got the blue background, it might all be a bit too blue, but we've got leaves. I think in our last one we did leaves all different colours, didn't we? In our first one we did leaves all the same colour. I think we'll mix it up a bit here because there isn't much else going on. We've got some flowers, but we haven't got, sorry, something was rattling. I was wondering what it was, but it's just a piece of paper. So yeah, we've got flowers here. So I'm thinking we've got this plant here and these are all the same. So we'll do that one colour. We can do these one colour and these one colour. I'm hoping we've got enough different greens. I'm sure I can work it out. Let's think. I'm going to do this bit under here actually first, so I don't forget. So I'm going back to my 233. I think I'm going to do it in a grey. I'm going to put a little layer of grey over all of it first, just so I can sort of think about it. I am thinking sharpen it. That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to make it quite dark in here where I've got this sort of overlap, and sort of fade it down a bit like that. We'll do the same on this side. Then we get a sort of slightly shadowy look. I sort of ignored the lines this time, just doing something a bit different. I think sometimes it's nice to mix it up a bit. I'm actually going to use the black. I want that to be a bit more obvious. This is our 199, the black. So I'm going to put a bit more here and here, just to really emphasize that shadow, and we might just put it over those lines too. There we go. I like that. Now let's do the little windows. I'm thinking quite pale, a lemony colour. We have a light cadmium yellow. I think that's going to be that's the lightest we have, which is number 105. I'm going to give it a sharpen, use that one. Now, I was having a chat, I'm sure she won't mind me telling you, with someone online who's looking for the discontinued polychromos pencils. There's a light violet, which I am lucky enough to possess, but there's also a light blue and a soft black. I'm not sure if she has those or not. I just asked her the other day. These little ones on the top, I'm going to start with phthalo green 161 to start with. Here we go, 161. And I'm going to do, it's a bit of a darker bit drawn on there. So make that the dark side there. And then where they're overlapping, make that darker and sort of fade it off. And then we use the emerald green to just finish them off, and that one that way, like that. I'll put a little layer like that. So interestingly, so the light violet, I can't find it in any other Faber Castell set. It just seems to have been discontinued. But I found that there's a light blue in this set. And it made me wonder if it was the light blue or a different light blue. So I'm going to go for the emerald green, which I can't find. Here it is. I could use the light phthalo, but I don't think I will. 163 emerald green. I'm going to sharpen it. We've got quite small details here. Yes, I wondered if the light blue from this set was the same as that discontinued light blue. So I'm going over what I've done and then just going to put a bit less on in those little gaps that I've left. Where's my brush? But the light blue in this set is a mixture between light and middle phthalo blue. So it's not a unique colour in my mind. You know, it's a bit of a mixed one. It's quite interesting. And I don't know about the soft black. Never come across that. But apparently the Albrecht Dürer watercolour set, I don't know how to say it, also used to have them. And so if you can get a vintage set of those, you can get them as well. But yeah, they're it's been like probably 10 years since they made them, so it's a very long time. It's very difficult to find them. Okay, we've done that. Now I'm going to do the flowers, I think, and I'm thinking let's go for I'd like a bluey purple. We have the blue violet, which would be a good one to go for, I think. Here it is, 137, is that correct? Yeah, blue violet. So it will then match these blues rather than going for the sort of a crimson type purpley pink. Now, where are we going to go darker? I think I'm going to take notice of this, make it darker on the edge there. And fade it into this little bit to make it look like it's a sort of curved petal. Do the same on this one. And this one. So it's a bit complicated with such a little space. so it can end up looking like we've got a bit more shape to our little flower. But you can just colour it just flat if that suits your style better or your mindset. You know, I know it's not always easy to find the time and energy even for doing something a bit more fancy. There we go. I think if they were just blocked in this colour, they'd still look very, very pretty. And you may also think they look better. It's all a matter of personal taste, isn't it? That's what's nice about colouring, is that some pictures that people really like, I'm sort of thinking, and then there are pictures that people dislike, and I'm like, that's amazing. You know, it's all very subjective, and I think that's great. So when I put my pictures up on social media, my completed pictures, I never know what sort of reaction to expect, because some of the pictures I put up and I think they're a bit meh. You know, they're not the best coloured pictures or whatever. And then other times, you know, I think they're really good, but people don't agree. So it's good. Now I'm going to grab the emerald green, 163, and I'm going to do all the leaves on these particular plants. But I'm just going to do, I'm actually going to do that bit thoroughly, but I'm just going to do the base part, and then I'm going to finish the tip in the light phthalo green. So I'm going to just fade it down. You can block it in if it's easier, but I find it easier to make it look better colouring it like this. Perhaps it's just because the way I do it, and I've practiced it a lot. There we go, just moving around. It's sunny today, makes a change. But it makes the autumn leaves look absolutely glorious. Although there's nothing better than a beech tree forest with wet, shiny trunks where it's rained and sun's come out. The leaves and the trunks are shiny in the sunshine from where they were wet. It's just the most gorgeous thing in my opinion. I love it. I think nature is just such a positive force, I think, for everyone. I just realised I haven't done the chimney. You know, being in nature, but so I've been reading about, you know, obviously not everyone can go out in nature, you might not live near it, that sort of thing, but apparently even having a pot plant can have a positive impact on you. You don't have to go outside if you can't, you know, or you know, or if you don't want to, just get a little pot plant that gives you something to pot plants are really good for people as well, to give you something to look after and care for if you don't have people that you're looking after already. It can really help you improve your mental health, apparently, which I find quite fascinating. That yeah, there was a famous study done, I've mentioned it before, where they gave some people in a care home a pot plant that they were solely responsible for looking after. They couldn't get help from the staff. Well, they might be able to get some help by saying, it needs watering, can you water it? But it was their responsibility. And they fared much better than the ones that didn't have a pot plant. I find that quite fascinating. I find it really hard to keep pot plants alive, which is a bit of a problem. But I've got a peace lily in the bathroom and it was just flopped over so much. Husband was like, that's gone. It's gone. And I said, well, I think it's fine. Just needs some water. I just hadn't had time to water it. So he watered it and it's come back to life. It's perfectly fine. A few of the leaves have died off, 162, but they do anyway because that's how it grows. So we're just completing these leaves. You know, it sheds the leaves at the bottom and grows new ones from the centre. So that's just how it grows. It's a peace lily, I think I might have said. So anyway, it survived. Hurrah. I also have a Christmas cactus, and it normally flowers around this time of year. We named it a Diwali cactus because it's usually Diwali when it flowers. It hasn't started flowering yet, but I'd moved it off the windowsill over into a darker bit of the kitchen. So I don't know if that has affected it. I might have to move it again. We'll see. So yes, so we have the Diwali cactus. I also have a fern which is looking really sad. It's growing, but it's got loads of dead bits in the bottom, and I tried to trim some away and it just looks like there's like loads of dead sticks and things. It's horrible. I don't really know what to do with it. I'm wondering, I'm sure it probably needs taking out of the pot, trimming all properly once I can properly see the roots, once there's no soil attached to the bottom, and then repotting. But I don't really have any soil or a space to do that in, you know. So I've just been leaving it to fend for itself and hoping that it's going to be happy. Now, we have a chimney which I need to do before I forget. I'm just having a look. I think I might use the bluish turquoise. It is number 149. So rather than doing this as a sort of metallic affair like we've done with the others, we'll do it a bit differently. We'll do it blue. There we go. So just sharpen this one. I'm going to put no colour in the centre though, make it look rounder and possibly more shiny. My stomach's rumbling. It's only 11:15. I think that clock's right. Did I change the clock? Oh, I've got my phone here. Yeah, I did. We had the clock change, it was, well, a while ago now, but I don't always remember all of them. Now for these leaves down here, I do want a bluey green look, but I've used all the bluey green pencils. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the ones that isn't bluey green. What have we got? We've got 167 permanent green olive. That's a bit dark. We've got May green. What's this one? 166 grass green. 173 olive green yellowish. No. 266 permanent green. I'm going to use permanent green and grass green, see what it looks like, and I can always put some light phthalo green on top if it doesn't quite work. So here's our 266. I'm going to put some darker green down here at the bottom and see what happens. I was talking to my sister about Christmas today, because yesterday when we were at my mum, she was like, you kids, I need to know whether you want presents or money. I want to start getting organised. And my sister, I haven't thought about Christmas yet, so I'm starting to. I've got a few things, but not enough by any stretch. But I usually ask some people what they want, so I can, you know, get them exactly what they want. But my sister always likes a surprise, and that makes it really difficult. 170. No, that's not what I want at all. I don't want 170. 166? Yes, grass green, 166. I was fooled by that colour because it's quite dark. But I'm going to sharpen it up. Yeah, so I don't really know what to get her. It's tricky. I always think I do it wrong. Do you know what I mean? There's something that she doesn't like. Difficult, but I should have to get my thinking cap on. Most people are reasonably easy. I give all my nieces and nephews money. I know it's boring, but it means they can go out shopping, buy what they want, rather than have some stuff that they don't necessarily have the space for or want. You know, I did used to ask them, although I think one of my nieces said she's going to put together a list, so she might want a gift, but I just might not be able to get it for her. I'm going to go over the top of all that with the light phthalo green once I've looked up what colour it is. 162. What number it is? 162. I think it will just make it match better. So I'm really just going to go over everything. Making it nice and dark as well. I don't think my sky is dark enough, so I'm going to redo that as well in a minute. Oh, that's better. Much happier with that. So I'm going to grab the sky colour 154. I could hear some noise. I can't work out what it is. It's like a TV or a radio or something, but I'm home alone, so I don't know what's going on. I won't be home alone much this week actually, because my one son's home, but he's no trouble. We haven't done this. I thought I'd nearly finished. Never mind, we'll get there. I can go over these leaves a bit with this blue because they're bluey green. These are so cute, aren't they? There we go. So this one, I might just use the light phthalo green and see how it looks on its own. So this is the 162. I mean, I do know how it looks because I'm going to fade it a bit to the tip and just see if it stands out enough in that background. I think we're almost there. What I'm going to do, now I want a slightly darker colour. I think the phthalo green will have to work for me. That is the 161. Just got to find it. There it is. So here's my 161, my phthalo green. I'm just going to darken a few areas across the picture. So firstly, the bottom of these grassy bits, just put a little bit in here, just to make them look a little bit darker. Now in here I'm going to make the bits where they join together a bit darker. Now what I'm trying to do is put quite a defined line in between them, but then just put a little bit of fainter colour just around it so it doesn't look like it's just a stripe. There we go. Now, I'm going to fiddle with these a bit more as well. I don't know if these really need to be that much darker, to be honest. I don't think so. What I do want to do is grab that black 199 to put some shadow under these bunches of leaves. So just a tad. Like that. And on this one, just to separate them slightly from the and what I'm going to do is put a little bit under this window frame and on the very inside of the glass here, just to make it look like it's slightly sunk in, like that. And also need a bit here at the top of this stem. And on this one too. There we go. The bottom of the stems too, where the leaves are overlapping. Right, I'm going to leave it there, or else I'm at risk of doing too much fiddling. But I think the blues and purple are quite pretty, aren't they, together? Tomorrow's is interesting, really different. Anyway, we'll do that tomorrow. We won't worry about that now. I'm not worrying. Anyway, thank you for watching today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.